They're called the Mod Squad. Ground pounders. The men that live by the grace of God and 600 horsepower.
Here they come to the stripe, down to the finish, checkered flag in the air.
Monsignor up the hill, here comes Salamito to the inside. Here comes John Beatty Jr.
And off the corner, to the line they come.
This is the Modified Minute. Go inside the world of modified racing with Jack Arute. Modified Minute is brought to you by Waddell Communications, the official trackside radio supplier for the Mod Squad, by Mid-State Site Development, safety, knowledge, and innovation, by Wheeler's Auto Services, the finest in top-level service of premier automobile makes and models, by Hummel Brothers Quality Meats, 100% quality since 1938, by Hoosier Tire East, tires designed for champions, by Riverhead Building Supply, build smarter, build better, and by Ferguson Contractors, building excellence since 1925.
Welcome to racing's newest podcast series that I'm calling The Modified Minute. I started this podcast because I believe that the modified racing community is underserved when it comes to coverage of what arguably may be one of the most exciting segments of all of motorsports. Throughout this series, I hope that you'll enjoy getting to better know some of the key figures that populate the modified racing world. I also want to thank my sponsors. They are true modified supporters, and I hope that you will support them. So, let's get this journey started, shall we? We start with the recapping of the racing action from the new Smyrna Speedway, where the track celebrated their 60th year of modified racing at the 5/8 mile high banks back in February.
It is time to get you up to speed here on the Modified Minute. Up to Speed is brought to you by Mid-State Site Development, safety, knowledge, and innovation. Here's a recap of modified action from new Smyrna Speedway's 60th Annual World Series of Racing. Things kicked off with the inaugural 2026 event for the Wheelin' Modified Tour. The new Smyrna Beach Area Visitors Bureau 200.
Monsignor brings them down slow. Good launch from the field. They're off.
Green is out. We're underway. Justin Bonsignor brings the field to turn number one. At inside lane gets the jump. McKennedy in second. Still nose-to-nose for third. Baldwin has the advantage going into turn number three. Driving in a bit deeper. Priest and Baldwin nose-to-nose for the second spot. Just in front of that 79 of McKennedy. Here comes Silk to the inside of Rip. Come up, bit of contact, and Silk into the outside wall in turn three. Green flag is back out. Priest was so good in the outside lane under the last restart and gets the advantage under this restart. But here comes Beers back to the inside, not letting Priest get clean racetrack by the time they get to the back straightaway. 10 shy of the halfway mark. It is still Ryan Priest and Justin Bonsignor 1 and 2. You see him up the back straightaway. Just a couple of lengths between the top two, and then a bit of a gap back to Austin Beers running unchallenged in the third spot. Caution comes out. Trouble off of turn two.
Had the 99. He just drove right in. That car stopped in the backstretch. Didn't see him.
It was a late green light, but pit road is open, and here they come, Jim Trado.
Ryan Priest, the first to his pit stall, 5 in from turn 4 from second position. They're going right side tires. Same call for Jimmy Blewett. Blewett's going right side tire. They wanted to make an adjustment. They may not have the ability because they wanted to make that adjustment in the left rear, according to Mike Polonia. That won't happen. So they're going to do it the right side tires only for the cars running second.
For the two guys that are at the lead part of pit road, Justin Bonsignor, 2 rear tires for him. That car is really good, according to Ryan Stone. Same thing for the 64 of Austin Beers.
Green is back up. Bonsignor not able to get away under this restart. Ripkema pinching him right down to the bottom and holding that high side momentum in the 3 car. Top side, Bonsignor to the bottom. Coming around off of turn number 4, white flag, 1 to go. Baldwin out of shape further back, but the leader took the white as they go to turn number 2. Caution comes out, and Justin Bonsignor finds himself at the front of the field at the time of caution.
Win number 48 for Justin Bonsignore. He did so good, staying disciplined, hooking the bottom, not using the 3-car up and not becoming vulnerable. He's going to drive under the caution and the checkered here and take the win tonight in New Smyrna.
Checkered flag is out, and Justin Bonsignore wins the New Smyrna Beach Area Visitors Bureau 200 season opener for the NASCAR Wheel and Modified.
Then it was the Tour Type Modified's turn with 5 events over the next week. And it was a 14-year-old named Paulie Hartwig who stole the first show.
Baldwin and Priest to the green. Turn 4, we are underway. The Tour Type Modifieds at the World Series of New Smyrna. And it's Ryan Priest leading the field to 2.
Look at that. Paulie Hartwig the third, taking over that position from Ryan Priest. How about that? 4 laps into his World Series career in a Tour Type Modified. Paulie Hartwig is your leader. Hartwig stretching the advantage even more. He's clean into turns 3 and 4. Paulie Hartwig about to make some history of his own. Hartwig wins it here at New Smyrna.
In the next race, a NASCAR Cup star came back to his roots to score the win.
Off of turn 4, Tyler Ripkema on the inside, on the outside. Ryan Priest underway for 60 laps of action as they head to turn 1. Battle for the lead up front. Who gets the run off of 2? It's Ripkema on the inside. Ryan Priest off the 4th corner to the line, claims his first win of the week at the World Series, his 14th in World Series history. Priest takes the Tour Type Modified win.
Next up was the John Blewett Memorial 76.
Racing for 76 laps. Williams looked like he was going to go to the outside lane, but instead he takes the lead on the bottom lane where that 50 car has been so efficient.
Here is Williams in the outside lane. Emerling, the top qualifier, trying to challenge as they race to turn 1.
Good restart for Ronnie Williams there. He's going to jump out in front of that 2-wide battle for second, but here comes Emerling. That bottom lane looking good for that 1 car.
For the lead, Williams is there, peeking to the inside on the front stretch with 19 laps to go. The John Blewett III Memorial event, and Emerling, fast time earlier, on his way to turn 3 for the final time.
Emerling, no pressure off the back bumper. He is going to come through turns 3 and 4. Ralph Miller with the checkered flag in hand. Patrick Emerling going to take the win in the Blewett Memorial 76.
The next night, Emerling stood at the brink of becoming the first double winner of the year. But it would take some bare knuckles racing to do so.
And it's a great opening start for the 73 of Paulie Hartwig.
Hartwig with a great jump. He's going to leap out in front of Patrick Emerling in the 1. Emerling has got Ronnie Williams. I'll tell you, Ronnie Williams has got to be tired of seeing that back deck of that number 1 car. Right now, Williams with the run to the inside. Can he pull alongside Emerling? For the first time this week, he's got a shot to do it. If he can clear Emerling, maybe he can get up there and run for the lead. Ronnie Williams taking second. He's going to bring Catalano along with them.
This week, he started out in the Jerry Cradle, number 20. Now he's under fire by Ronnie Williams. Ronnie Williams on the inside going for the lead and takes it from Paulie Hartwig. Here comes Catalano as well. We got ourselves a battle at the lead here, guys. But Ronnie Williams chasing that coveted World Series victory. And for everybody that races modifieds in the Northeast, the whole focus, the spotlight is firmly on New Smyrna Speedway every February, and it is an honor for any driver to win down here. That's what Ronnie Williams is chasing tonight.
There's Patrick Emerling. Looks like he's in position to continue that top 10 streak, but I don't know that he's got what it's going to take to get up there to battle for the lead here. Big gap on the racetrack with just a few laps remaining, but still an excellent night, and I'll tell you what, he may have a shot at it. Caution flag out for the first time.
The green is out on the restart. Hartwig drops off the pace on the restart for the lead. Emerling had the advantage for a moment. Williams drives it in deep and reassumes the race lead in 2.
Wow, a chaotic restart there. Big-time problems for Paulie Hartwig III, and then some contact between the leaders. Williams will reestablish himself as the leader. 3 to go this time around. Used up Emerling a little bit on that restart, though. Let's see if Emerling has any hurt feelings. Is the caution flag going to come out? One more time. Paulie Hartwig III could not make it back to pit road.
Emerling takes the lead on the restart. What will Williams do? Will he fire back in 1 and 2. He's right there on the rear.
Oh boy, all that work that Williams did to get around Patrick Emerling is out the window after this restart. He's going to have to fall in line
For the lead, trying to not be denied tonight of his first World Series victory. Williams up to the door. White flag waving, 1 to go for Emerling and Williams.
It's going to be whichever driver has the cleanest final lap. They're going to go up the racetrack. Williams hip checks Patrick Emerling up the racetrack. He'll take the lead. What does Emerling have to give back? In 3 and 4, they make contact. Williams up the racetrack. Emerling to the lead. Here comes Patrick Emerling to the checkered flag. Give it to Patrick Emerling.
The week ended with the running of the prestigious Richie Evans Memorial 100. And for one driver, it was redemption time.
100 laps of action for the Tour Type Modifieds, their final race of the World Series in 2026. Goodale on the inside, battle on the outside. Championship is a tight one. Green flag is out at New Smyrna Speedway for the Richie Evans Memorial 100. He's made many World Series starts over the last several seasons. He's made 6 starts in the Richie Evans Memorial. His best finish was 8. That was before tonight. Ronnie Williams wins the Richie Evans 100.
In each episode, we're also going to let you eavesdrop in on conversations between drivers, spotters, and crew chiefs. I like to call it radio replay.
It's time for Radio Replay. Radio Replay is brought to you by Waddell Communications, your Northeast trackside dealer for radios and repairs. This week's replay comes from Ryan Priest and his spotter, Mike Herman Jr.
Quarter south on. So they're south on. So they're quarter south on. So they're about 1 out back behind him or south on even. Just you and him, about 2 out back south on. So they're south on. So they're about a quarter south on. So they're quarter. Bumper. South here. Bumper. Clear. Still clear. Clear. For the half. About 2 out back behind him here. Still inside. Still in there. Right at your door. Still inside. So there's 4. Quarter, bumper, clear. Tight in line. 1 to the bottom. Just barely inside here. It'll be quick. Clear. There's a 1. About half in line out back. Stay low, you're clear. Got me a caution here. Just going to stay green now. Keep digging. Keep digging. Clear by 2. Alright, that's clear now. Clear by 2. Caution's out, back it down. Caution's out. Yeah, just, obviously, I started backing it down a little bit because pace-wise, we're going to need about 25 to 30 unless you guys start giving up a little.
Each week, I'll spotlight someone's outstanding performance. I'm calling it the hot dog of the week.
It's now time to reveal this week's Modified Minute Hot Dog of the Week. Someone who stood above the rest. Brought to you by Hummel Brothers. Quality Meats. The top dog in modified racing. 100% quality since 1933. This week's Hummel Brothers Hot Dog of the Week is 14-year-old Paulie Hartwig III, who took down the Modified Tour Type Opener at New Smyrna Speedway's World Series of Asphalt Racing.
Baldwin and Priest to the green. Turn 4, we are underway. The Tour Type Modifieds at the World Series of New Smyrna. And it's Ryan Priest leading the field to 2.
Look at that. Paulie Hartwig III taking over that position from Ryan Preece. How about that? 4 laps into his World Series career in a tour-type modified. Paulie Hartwig is your leader. Hartwig stretching the advantage even more. He's clean into turns 3 and 4. Paulie Hartwig about to make some history of his own. Hartwig wins it here at New Smyrna.
Congratulations, Paulie. You are the top dog.
I'm sure a lot of you have your favorite driver, and I want you all to get to know the men and the women behind that driver. I'm talking about car owners, crew members, and crew chiefs. Time for our very first installment of Crew Call right here on the Modified Minute.
Time to drop in at the race shop and get the inside dope from the guys who twist the wrenches. It's Crew Call, brought to you by Ferguson Contractors. Building excellence since 1925.
Well, our Crew Call this week goes out to a guy that twists the wrenches on the USNE #1 for Patrick Emerling. Dale Hedquist joins us now. Dale, first of all, thanks for joining us. But explain to me how in God's name a guy that calls Rhode Island home is calling the shots for a driver that calls Orchard Park, New York home.
So thanks for having me, first of all, and glad to be here. So it's actually pretty funny story, I guess. It started back when I was with Jonathan McKennedy on a 79 car, and we were closing that shop. Patrick and I had talked a little bit. He wasn't really sure of what was going to happen. And then literally a year later, we kind of all met together, and worlds collided, and here we are. So, yeah, I mean, being from Rhode Island, a lot of people don't realize this. We're right in the middle of racing country. In growing up, I was fortunate enough to come from a racing background with my dad and mom, and we'd be at Seekonk, we'd be at Westboro, we'd be at Stafford, we'd be at Thompson. They're all under an hour drive. Riverside Park, they were all 45, 50 minutes away. So that's really why Rhode Island's home and always has been. So, yeah.
Well, let's talk about early on going down to Daytona to New Smyrna for Speed Weeks, the only modified tour type team to win 2 of the events that were posted. But one of them was a little controversial, at least if you talk to Ronnie Williams. Your take, as a guy that's been around the sport for a very long time, are 8 wheels better than 4?
So anybody that knows Patrick and myself, we don't like to race that way at all. And one of the things last year on the tour, with a few tour races, we got kind of bullied a little bit, and I'll call it bullying. And that was one of the things Patrick and I kind of talked about over the off season was we got to dig our heels in the mud a little bit when some of these guys, when they run you hard is one thing, but when they run you out of racetrack, it's another thing. And, I know we talked after with Ronnie Williams and the Adam Score team. And we enjoy racing with those guys. And we've raced the night before. We had, I think, 6 or 7 restarts, and they never touched an earth bar. So, I mean, there's give and take. Sometimes you're the bug, sometimes you're the windshield, and we've been on both ends of that, and we'll just leave it at that.
It works for me. Let's talk a little bit about what lies ahead. This weekend, it is going to be Martinsville, event number 2. What's your takeaway from New Smyrna that you can put into place for the race this weekend at Martinsville, which is just a flat paperclip? It's nothing like New Smyrna Speedway.
So I'm excited, and I'm a little nervous to get back to Martinsville. We had a really dominant car there. We had a car that I think we were had a really good shot at winning the race. Justin was really good, but I think we were better through the center than he was. And we had a fuel issue with 7 or 8 to go, whatever it was. I think the trick play is the tire. I don't know how the tire is going to respond at Martinsville compared to the Hoosier. So I think we're going to use more brake, which is really scary a little bit.
At Martinsville, is there more break to be had?
Because I think you're going to slide the nose there a little more than we did with the Hoosier. So yeah, that's the scary part for that. But other than that, it's literally we're going to attack it like we did in October. We're going to go there, keep our heads down, go to work, and try to make the best out of it.
What would it mean to you to take home to Rhode Island a grandfather clock?
That, boy, I'll tell you, I've been close there twice. The year we won the championship in 22, Jonathan was leading with, I think, 11 to go. And we really had a shot at beating Justin there in some lap traffic with like 8 to go. And both times, no clock. So I don't really know how to tell time here, I don't think. So we're gonna work on that. One of these days, I have a strong feeling we'll have a grandfather clock here in Rhode Island.
Dale, let me ask you a question. The sport of modified racing has been around since NASCAR first started, but it has evolved into something that is probably, I think, in my opinion, in many ways more complex, and the window of what I call originality has become so small and so narrow that it used to be maybe a battle of inches, and now it's a battle of thousands.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're put into a rule book or a box with the rules that makes it harder for us to be more extravagant. And that's why some of the open shows that we run, like the new Smyrna Speed Week stuff, we can push some of those areas to kind of make our tour package better. And that's what we use the open races for, is we try to make our tour package better by racing open shows and testing the waters with exotic setups, or, a different shock valving, whatever. And so it's tough because you're right. You've got any given tour race, and this year is going to be even more. You really have 15 cars, I think, that can win. I think it's the hardest division in the country to win in, for sure.
One of the things that out of the Emerling stable, with certainly your influence, was the appearance at the Thompson Speedway last year of the old new style jewelry, big red machine with Jeff Bodine in attendance, and you come off and you win the race. Did that idea originate with you? Because you trace your history all the way back to Armstrong and that whole group with Bodine in the one.
So one of the things that I've always been fortunate in racing, I've always been around a lot of people that were really, revered in the sport, we'll say, right? So the history part of it, for me, growing up in it, I think is really important for a lot of people that don't understand it or have never seen it.
Yeah.
The year before, so let's go back to 23. I really wanted to do, 24. I really wanted to do a tribute to the one car. And we started to put it together with the Armstrong family, and we just couldn't make it work. We kind of ran out of time there.
Mm-hmm.
So in the off season, I said, hey, I really would like to do, a tribute. And I got some people involved that would help us, financially put it together, because it was a whole body, a whole wrap. There was a lot of pieces involved to make that appear right. So, I was fortunate enough to get the help. And, we couldn't have played that Thursday night out if you asked me to write it up. We had a carburetor problem there and had to start dead last. And when it was time to go, we went. And
you pushed the button, indeed. And for someone like me that's been around the sport and can trace its roots all the way back, I don't want to admit that I'm that old, but the whole Hop Arrington era, along with Dick Armstrong, along with Jeffrey and even Ray Hendrick, it warmed my heart to see it. What disturbed me is, unfortunately, probably there were a lot of people sitting in the stands that didn't quite make the connection. So I'm glad you brought it out so that they would ask the questions.
So that was one of the things, like standing in the infield, kind of walking out to victory lane. You're in the heat of battle, and there's a lot of things that are going on. We just won a tour race, which is huge.
Yep.
But we also won it with a tribute in with Jeff there, and we had the Pinto there, and guy Carl Oberg, who owns the original car, we trailered it up, and so we put a lot of time. A lot of people put a lot of time and effort into that car, and the place was packed, and it was great. And I think the people that we got feedback from, or I got feedback from, were all interested in, like, okay, so explain to me the relevance of the one car, and you say, well, the guy won 55 races in 1 year. We can't even run 55 races.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
How do you win 55, right? And, that was just, and I would love to do more tributes. And I think, we started some conversations, and maybe we'll do that, continue that going down the road. This USNE deal now is new, right? It's in its infant stages. So, hopefully, and I know David Miller is a huge Ronnie Bouchard fan. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but
he did share that with me.
Oh boy, we're going to see a purple
17.
Well,
I'm ready.
So I don't know about the purple 17, but maybe a black number 7.
Oh, that too. Yeah, let's go there.
Black number 7.
See, I relate the black number 7 to Georgie Summers.
Yeah. Yep. So funny story, on a side note, I used to work a little bit. The guy who did late model motors that really kind of got me in a crew chief position of winning races was in the Ken Curley shop where all those cars were built.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's just 10 minutes down the road from here in Medway, Mendon, Mass.
Before I let you go, every driver has its style, and you've had a lot of guys sit in your seats. Can you explain to me the style that is presented by a member of the Bills Mafia? I never let him forget it, that he's racing in the New England Patriots territory.
I know.
But when you look at Patrick's style, how would you characterize it? How would you explain it?
Finesse, just class and finesse. One of the things that I really admire about him is he doesn't put himself in a bad situation he can't get out of. He doesn't get in over his head. If we have a 5th place car and we finish 2nd with it, that's a great day. If we have a 5th place car and we finish 5th with it, that's still a great day. He doesn't take a 5th place car and put it into a position where it's going to win on wrecking somebody else or wrecking our own equipment. That's one of the things, is just the finesse in the raw talent, and he can process it and explain it back to me. The feedback is really great.
That's so valuable for a guy like you that twists the wrenches. Listen, I'm really pleased that you consented to join us in the premiere of the Modified Minute, and hopefully this time next week you will have a grandfather clock there in your shop chiming that it's time to celebrate. Dale, best of luck down in Martinsville this weekend.
Thank you. I got one thing to show you before we go, Jack.
Okay.
So I've been hanging body panels on the walls for years. So if we zoom over.
Oh, my gosh.
There's the tribute body hanging
There
on the
you
wall
go.
that everybody signed.
There you go. Well, it was special to me, and I know it was special to guys of your ilk. I didn't say age, your ilk. The beauty of modified racing is the rules diversity. There's tour modifieds, tour type modifieds, open modifieds, SK modifieds, SK lights, smart modifieds, as well as the 602s. One of the more popular types of modified racing are the SKs, conceived by my late father and now a staple in many Northeastern short tracks. Each week, I'll take you inside that world, as well as visits to the SK lights and the 602s. It's called SK Soundings.
Time for SK Soundings. Brought to you by Wheeler's Auto Services. The finest in top-level service of premier automobile makes and models. Specializing in European, Japanese, and domestic vehicles.
At the premier level of NASCAR, it's not unusual to see one car owner field multiple entries. But that's not the case in short track racing, until my next guest showed up with the grand idea of building and providing customer cars that he then would race against. We're talking about Keith Rocco of Keith Rocco Racing. All right, Rocco, You go out there, you charge good money for these guys, you give them a customer car, and then you whip their ass.
Whoa, 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 whoa! I don't whip their ass. They whip my ass lately. Which is something I don't mind seeing. It's good for business, and it builds the program that I'm trying to succeed in, making a living at, just like everybody else in this world. They're trying to make a living. It's pretty cool to do what I'm doing and see people succeed, like the Flynns and the Pulios and everybody coming up that's joined on this program. Michael Jarvis, Megan Fuller. There's a huge list of people that are winning and came from equipment or came from nothing. And we're really showcasing what their ability of driving a race car is.
How important is it for you to choose the right customers? Or if a guy comes with a golden briefcase, are you, hey, come on board, come on in, let me show you my stuff?
So you got to take the good with the bad, right? Obviously there's customers that have raw talent, and there's other customers that, you're going to have to mold into what you want,
there's other customers that you wish you hadn't cashed the check.
Yeah, well, we prefer cash, but that's between me and you. You're not going to tell anybody, right? But yeah, at the end of the day, there's people like Flynn and Pulio that once we gave them great equipment, they showcased what they can. But Megan Fuller came from a street stock, and me and her father worked really hard to make her a modified driver, and she's come so far and so long. Obviously she won a championship, she won races, and she's out there, fighting with the wolves. It's pretty cool to see, and that's what brings you joy in this, is taking somebody like Megan Fuller, that's obviously the underdog because she's a female, and making her win. That's what we want to do. That's our goal here.
How many cars at one time have you ever fielded at one racetrack at a given weekend?
Well, we got that one spot we park at because Mark yelled at us for clogging up the one area.
You mean Mr. Personality? Come on. He yelled at you?
Yeah, it's not the first time. But, I always judge it because I take the first spot there over by the new pit area there where it was freshly paved back when I started going. But, I always judge it by how far down the line I look and see where, where the last car that I'm working on is. And, there's been times where there's, I think I brought 9 cars one weekend, and then you add in the Flynns and Pulios and, some others. And it's like halfway down that line. It's like, Jesus, what are we doing here? But those are the good weekends. Those are the good weekends you go home smiling.
When you look at the body of work in an SK racing, and you've pretty much limited yourself to SKs, we'll see you now and again in a tour type modified, or maybe making an occasional start at the Whelen modified tour or the Monaco modified series. But you are Mr. SK. You're making a living off the SKs against guys that you want to try and beat. What is it about the SK modified that has lit you up the way it has?
I don't know. It's just how I grew up. I grew up watching my father when I was, 5 years old at Stafford. From him to work with Ted Christopher, it's all I know. SKs are all I know. I've grown up around it. I've been around it. It's Christ. 35 years that I've been going to Stafford and watching SKs or being a part of them. So at the end of the day, I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's all I know.
One of the big stories that's been percolating over the winter, besides all the goddamn snow that we've gotten, is and when is New London Waterford Speed Bowl going to announce their schedule? You've been a semi-regular down there. Can you fill us in on what the heck's going on? Because as you and I sit down and talk and we go to air, things are still in awfully muddied waters down there. What's going on?
Now you bring this up, you would be perfect. Why don't you go knock on the door and ask them to let you run that joint?
I did a number of years ago.
The shit you could come up with over there.
I did a number of years ago, and we had a handshake, and then he reneged.
Really? That would be ideal.
Yeah, can you imagine if I was running that place?
it'd be like last time you ran that go-kart race over at Stafford, that Champions for Charity. They put you in charge of being the race director. How'd that work out? Mark didn't talk to neither of us for a year.
Didn't talk to either of us, and the guy that was in charge of CarQuest at the time was so pissed off that we went to Napa. So, I mean, you go figure it out. All right.
Yeah.
You talk about Ted Christopher, Keith. I mean, we know about your dad and hanging out that way, but tell me how you hooked up with Mr. Modified.
We were at that point, we were sneaking in the pits and trying to be around it as much as we could, my brother and I. And, finally my father got to the point, he says, if you guys want to work on a race car and go to the racetrack, he says, you might as well go there with one of the best. So he went over there, and, Ted was one of his biggest enemies racing. And, he talked to him, and next thing you know, we were down there on, a Thursday or a Friday or a Saturday, depending on where he was racing, and we were going to the racetrack with him, working with him and Michael Sullivan. Michael Sullivan was like a big brother to us and taught us a lot of cool shit and taught us a lot of ways to have fun at the racetrack. We had a blast for so many years, and it just it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot from the way to mind fuck somebody in the pits to the way of having some race finesse on the racetrack.
What's the biggest lesson you learned from TC?
Probably the biggest thing I learned from him, like I just said, one, you mind fuck the guy in the pit area before you get on the racetrack, and two, I always learn that if he's on your bumper and he's hitting you in the middle of the corner, you know where he is. You kind of control stuff from there, and it's just growing up, watching it, and learning from the best. That's what helped get me to where I am today.
Now it's legendary. Go ahead.
The fun part was today, to this day, if he was still here, he'd still fucking argue with me that he was the first one to start the rental business with Dan Avery. But you know what? I don't know. That's questionable. We'd have to go back and look at the calendar and the dates. But
explain to him that it's all about volume and quantity. Yeah. Okay. Now,
how much money did he go home with that night?
That's right. Hey, you're a guy that when Legends cars first showed up, you wanted to boycott them. They're not real race cars. I can't stand these things. They're toys. And now all of a sudden, Keith Rocco Racing.
Wait, back the bus up. I remember as I was probably, 10 years old, the Legend cars at Stafford used to park in the pit area or in the parking lot, right?
Right.
Didn't they fence them off for the big shows?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we were hanging out there with the Palmers and Jags, and I remember that's when you thought you had a driving career under your belt.
Well, that was short-lived, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
hopefully the podcast works out better than your driving career.
Well, hey, at this point, anything will be. Let me ask you though.
Yeah.
Okay. You were not a big fan of Legends cars. Now you've got a Legends car. You've got your son racing a Legends car.
Yeah,
you betrayed us, Rocco.
I thought they were cool when I was a kid. But then I drove and I'm like, these things are fucking shit boxes. Like the only thing I ever drove that I felt unsafe, and I drove a Nema Midget, and I felt safer in that than I did in that Legend car. But now my kid's in it, and he's 12 years old. I mean, what are we gonna do at 12? We're gonna keep racing go-karts? Might as well put him in something that's overpowered, underweight, and difficult to drive, and let him learn.
Are you going to be a soccer dad? Are you going to be, having to study?
Do I look like a fucking soccer dad?
No, you don't look like a soccer dad.
Why do you even have dumb questions like that?
Well, because I have to. Sometimes I have to. Yeah. But are we in store for a third generation of Roccos in racing?
We'll see. I mean, he's very into it. He loves it. He likes working on it. He's dedicated. He puts the time in, and he takes criticism very well from me. I'm his hardest critic, and that's how you learn. I mean, I'm not the one he gets out of the car. I'm not going to yell at him, but I do explain to him what happened, why it happened, and what can we do to prevent it. And that's how you learn. That's how you're going to be better. I remember when I started racing street stocks. My father was the same way. He didn't really know about, them things. And, I did what I did. And he never yelled at me. He never criticized me, but he would always give me the best advice possible to take and run with. And, that reflected on my career and how I raced and how I bring my kid up and how I do it with him now.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Another Rocco, and I'm sure now that we know how you and your brother snuck into the pits underage, we can make sure that it doesn't happen with your kid climbing over to celebrate in victory lane.
No, we're working on. Listen. We're working on the next best thing to get in the pits.
Okay, you're gonna have to brief us. Keith, it's a pleasure. We look forward to seeing you at the Sizzler. Let's face it, it's the drivers that get all the accolades and all the applause. After all, they are the tip of the spear, and Modified Minute is no different. So each week, we will visit with the driver, putting him in the Modified Minute spotlight.
It's Racer Spotlight time on the Modified Minute. Racer Spotlight is brought to you by Riverhead Building Supply. Build smarter. Build better. Here's Jack.
Well, Albert Einstein once said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different outcome. Somebody forgot to send that memo to my racer of the week, as he keeps going down to Daytona for speed weeks, and it finally paid off for Ronnie Williams. He wins the Richie Evans 100.
Flag, final time around for this driver who was so close to victory last night. Can he get it done here tonight?
He's made many World Series starts over the last several seasons. He's made 6 starts in the Richie Evans Memorial. His best finish was 8. That was before tonight. Ronnie Williams wins the Richie Evans 100.
The winless streak. Ronnie, congratulations on the big victory. And look, you came close so many times, but no cigar. Can you describe the feeling once you knocked that wall down?
Yeah, it's a big one. I mean, to finally get that win down at New Smyrna, like you said, I wasn't sure where you were going to go with the insanity clause there. But yeah, I guess we're all a little bit insane inside the racing world, right? So to finally get that win, to make all those trips worth it, because I mean, there was times where it was like, why are we coming down here? Why are we putting in the time, doing the long haul down to New Smyrna to race? Of course, it's nice to get out of this nice cold weather up in north, but yeah, it was finally nice to have. I mean, Adam set up an unbelievable car all week. We were pretty good on Monday, but it just kept getting better and better as the week went on. So hats off to those guys. I'm just the lucky one that is able to drive it. But yeah, that car was unbelievable. So to get that win, to get the win in that race, that prestigious of a race, and get that championship, it was an awesome feeling.
You know, championships are something that, well, you've got a few of them. You've won a couple of SK titles at the Stafford Speedway. So where does this championship and this win rank in the victories that you have and the trophies you have on the shelf?
It's high up there. Like I said, I think it makes it more special just because it took so long. Like I first started going there with the Bertuccio guys in 2018. And then just since 2021, I believe, is when we started going down with the 50 guys who have been racing for a long time now. So to finally get that, yeah, that's high up on the list. I mean, there are some cool ones at Stafford that I have. There's some cool memories, but especially to do it how we did it with the kind of, not controversy per se, but the way we lost the race on Thursday and to come back and really dominate the race on Friday was a cool thing.
Did you think about that in the waning laps of that Richie Evans 100?
I was just hoping there wasn't going to be a caution, so there would be some type of repeat. But like you said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. I would have guaranteed that if that were the case, if the caution came out, I wouldn't have done the same thing that I did on Thursday night. So
well, that's good.
We don't need to worry about that. But yeah, to get that win, I mean, even in the last 15 laps, I was just like, please don't have there be a caution so something ruins it. We had such a big lead, and I knew we definitely had the car. I think we had a better car than Thursday night, but again, it's racing and anything can happen.
Let's talk a little bit about your career. How long have you been engaged in this madness?
Since 2012 is when I started at the SK Lights at Stafford. So it's been a little bit. We moved up to SKs in 2014. And I always say it's crazy to see the guys that I was racing against in 2014. When you go back and look at the guys racing in the SKs like Teddy, Keith Rocco, Woody, Doug Kobe, Ryan Priest, Roman Pennick, Eric Byrne. You had a strong field every single Friday night. And I think that's just kind of propelled me to the driver I am today. And again, it's not, I'm racing against a lot of good guys now, but me racing the best very early on in my career at Stafford in the SKs, I think it's just propelled me to what I've been able to do.
It didn't come easy to you, my friend, and it took a while, but then it was like something clicked. Was it having all of those top-notch drivers take you to school, or what was it about Ronnie Williams that, not that you became an overnight sensation, but all of a sudden it all started to fall into place?
Yeah, I think we won our first race in my rookie year in 2014. We won 6 races in the SKs the next year, which is unbelievable. I think every time I look back at that, again, looking at the competition, but 2016 humbled me. 2017 humbled me. So
started thinking about that insanity thing again, right?
Exactly. So I really think it was hooking up with the 50 guys, the Scavora Racing family, with their knowledge, with working on the Flamingo Motorsports 16. A lot of those guys who worked on Ryan Priest's car on the tour are now part of that 50 team. So when we made that move over there, when Adam wrote me on Facebook and asked me to give him a call, and we started that journey since 2018. Yeah, we won 4 races our first year and got the championship, won the SK5K, won the championship in 2019, won the SK5K, and we just kept expanding and expanding, which opened up more rides, whether it was with Gary Casella in the 25 or even doing little things with Jamie Tomeno, which we're able to get that win, but things just started opening up on that side. I still don't feel like I am like that top guy, or like I have 50 modified wins, which is absolutely crazy because I never thought I'd get one when I was sitting in the grandstands at Stafford, watching all these guys. But to have 50 wins now in modifieds is truly unbelievable. But I can't do it without the guys who have gotten me there, which again is that 50 team, is Gary Casella and those guys, and also that family team that we had early on.
I can't believe that Adam Facebooked you, and that's how you got the ride.
Yeah,
tell me about that.
He sent me a little Facebook message before Thanksgiving. So
now, it was a private message, right? He didn't just like post it on Facebook, did he?
No, yeah, it was a little private message.
Okay.
Give him a call. We didn't have each other's phone numbers. I really don't talk to too many people in the racing world, so he sent me a little Facebook message and just asking him to give him a call because the seat was opening up because Chase was leaving to go to Rob Fuller, I believe, and that opportunity. It was a good time to get away from the family stuff just because my father was starting a new business and I wasn't sure how involved we were going to be able to be. So to have guys who like they love and they have the passion for working on the race car, which I'm not a big fan of, having these guys.
Whoa, wait a minute. You mean you're not a big fan of getting on the creeper and working on the race car? Okay. Yes. I just wanted to make sure we clarified that.
Yes. I am not I have two things in my drawer in the pit box. It's a T-handled hex key 5/32, which is a thing I use for my helmet shields, and I have a 1/2-inch wrench, which is just an inside joke that we have. So are
you going to share it with us? I mean, is it a left-handed 1/2-inch wrench, or
I honestly don't know. I didn't even know if there was a right-handed.
There really isn't. Come on, Ron.
Okay, but no, it's just one of those things that these guys, they have the passion to work on the car and they have their specific jobs on the team. My job is to go out there and win them races. So I want to make sure that it does suck when we don't have years where we are going out and we aren't performing as well as we think we should, because we do think we should be competing for wins every single time we go to the racetrack. So when we're not doing that, I feel like I'm failing as a driver just because I feel like these guys are putting so much effort into me racing. This is like my passion. So that's a big thing for me. And of course, everything's easier when we're winning. So we're starting off the 2026 season pretty well.
You got on the right foot. There's no question about that. 50 wins. I'll be honest with you. I didn't realize that you had amassed that many. And yet, in many ways, Ronnie Williams lives in the shadows. And what I mean by that is I think if I went to the stands at Martinsville this weekend, or if I went to New Smyrna and asked the average fan how many races that you had won in your career, I don't think any of them would say 50 unless they worked on the 50 team.
Yeah, I don't even know if some of them know. But yeah, I mean, again, 4 in the SK Lights, which isn't too crazy. I think we have 22 in SKs.
Wow.
From over the years, and I mean the other open wins that we have at Stafford. But yeah, the other ones.
You're a big dog.
I don't know about
You're
that.
a big
but,
dog. We got to give you more.
I'm trying to get there. Yeah, I mean the best week I've ever had in racing. We won with the 25 up in Loudon for an MRS show. That Wednesday we went to the tri-track race and we won a Seekonk. And that Friday we won in the 50 car in the SK 5K, and that was all in 2019.
Wow.
A hell of a week. I felt like Matt Hirschman for a week. It was unbelievable. And it was something that I knew was probably never going to happen again. But yeah, just counting up all those wins, it was a special thing to get to 50 this year.
Ronnie, we've got a plethora. That's my word for the day. It was on my calendar this morning of tour type events, whether, as you alluded to, MRS, the Monaco Modified Tri-Track Series, the Stafford Tour type modifieds, the Wheeling Modified Tour. Are there too many tour type races, or is it just enough?
I think there's I don't think there's too many. I think they're almost all bunched together at times. Like even when I'm doing the schedules, I feel like there is like months at a time where like there aren't a couple races. So I feel like everything's almost just on top of each other. I don't think anything's crazy. I know Stafford cut back some of the open shows this year. Thompson cut back some of the open shows this year, which just is allowing us to go to more tour type races, like the Wheel and Modified Tour. So, no, I don't think there's too many. We're going to support any open race that there is, whether it's Stafford or Thompson or Waterford. And we're just going to continue to compete on the Monaco and little here and there on the tour now.
Well, as long as you bring your T-wrench, that's all you need. You got your helmet, and your fire suit. Let the rest of the guys deal with it. Hey, listen, one of the things that we're going to do, and you're going to be the guinea pig for it, is each of our racer spotlights, we're going to do a little segment called Either Or.
It's either or, where our guest must choose one or the other. Presented by Hoosier Tire East, where we fuel passion, pride, and success with our tires designed for champions.
All right.
The way this is going to work is we're going to give you two choices, and you have to choose either or.
Okay.
All right, let's start. Either or for Ronnie Williams. We'll start with either muscle shirt or T-shirt.
T-shirt.
Oh, you're such a wuss.
Muscle shirt.
Either or. Ronnie, is it either wins or championships?
Wins.
Okay, that I can understand. Here we get may get a little touchy based upon what happened between you and the number one. Is it either beating Ronnie Silk or beating, and I say on the racetrack, Patrick Emerling?
Well, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go Silk right now.
Okay, all right. Chinese or Italian?
Italian. I don't think I've ever had Chinese food.
What is wrong with you, boy?
Sorry. Yeah, no, yeah.
Kung Pao chicken.
All right, yeah.
You might have to try that. All right, and the final either or, Carney B or Bad Bunny?
I don't know who any of those are.
You need to get a life, guy. You need to get a life.
Goodness.
Okay.
Is Bad Bunny the one who performed in the?
You're right. Yeah.
I'll go with the Carly B then.
There you go. There you go. Hey, Ronnie, I hope this was painless. Thoroughly enjoyed. Can't wait for you to hit the road here in the Northeast if we ever get rid of all this snow. And thanks so much for being our Racer of the Week.
Awesome. Thank you, Jack. I appreciate it.
So, what do you think? Let me know your thoughts. Just email me at modifiedminute, all one word, at gmail.com. My special thanks goes out to Ronnie Williams, Keith Rocco, and Dale Hedquist for being part of the very first show. And I thank you for tuning in. I hope that you'll follow us on Facebook and YouTube subscribe to our YouTube channel, won't you? And remember to come back every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern for the next episode of the Modified Minute.
This has been the Modified Minute. Modified Minute has been brought to you by Waddell Communications, the official trackside radio supplier for the Mod Squad, by Midstate Site Development, safety, knowledge, and innovation, by Wheeler's Auto Services, the finest in top-level service of premier automobile makes and models, by Hummel Brothers Quality Meats, 100% quality since 1938, by Hoosier Tire East, tires designed for champions, by Riverhead Building Supply, build smarter, build better, and by Ferguson Contractors, building excellence since 1925. Want to get in touch with us? It's easy. Our email is @ModifiedMinute, and our Facebook Messenger address is @ModifiedMinute. Be sure to subscribe to the Modified Minute YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook. We will see you next week for another episode of the Modified Minute.